On this edition of Main Street, we're taking you to the deep south to see elephants, to the far west to see thousands of migratory birds, and then right here close to home to see how technology is helping people get back to nature. On this edition of Main Street, Going Wild.
Funding for Main Street was provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by viewers like you who support quality programs such as Main Street that appear only on public television.
Hello and welcome to Main Street. I'm Barbara Deeb. On this edition of the program, we've traveled the Commonwealth and beyond in search of places where the wild things are. Now, our journeys have taken us a little further afield than we normally go, but we found some amazing places to share with you. Reelfoot Lake in western Kentucky is home to thousands of migratory birds and the Reelfoot National Wildlife Refuge. Winter is one of the best seasons to see hundreds of thousands of birds that use the sanctuary as a stopping off place in their migratory journey. Wirwa, refuge manager, gave us a glimpse of those magnificent birds and the beautiful place called Reelfoot Lake. Technology is often the reason people stop exploring the great outdoors, but Barren River State Resort Park is using GPS technology to get people back to nature. Avery the Naturalist at the park took our crew on a geocaching adventure that she likens to a high-tech scavenger hunt. The Elephant Sanctuary in Hohenwald, Tennessee is a place where elephants find a forever home after their lives in circuses and zoos. These magnificent animals are finally able to be themselves in the space and peace provided by the sanctuary. Costanza, the lead supervisor, tells us about the elephants and the place where they found sanctuary. We are going wild on this edition of Main Street.
Reelfoot Lake is such a unique place. It's an invaluable and irreplaceable resource, and it's valuable to so many species and the people that live around here. So many species and people depend on it.
It's just magical. It's got, you know, you go to another lake and there's not little trees that are growing up in the middle of the water. Of course, we've got our eagles here and osprey nests that are so close to the water you could almost reach up and touch them. They're so close. So you can see things up close and personal here. This place exists because we are here for protection and sanctuary for waterfowl. We were established in 1941 to protect these waterfowl. When they come through during migration, we want to make sure we have a nice habitat for them. And we manage the food for them. We grow lots of corn and natural vegetation for the waterfowl solely.
Reelfoot Lake is positioned in the heart of the Mississippi Flyway, so it's an important stopover site for migrating and wintering waterfowl. So it's important that we provide the right resources at the right place at the right time for those migrating and wintering birds, so that they can get the nutrition and the protection and the rest that they need to continue migration and return healthy.
The Reelfoot Lake area is about 30,000 acres or so. The Reelfoot National Wildlife Refuge is 10,428 acres. So we manage the upper third of Reelfoot Lake for the migratory waterfowl. It was formed by earthquakes in 1811 and 1812. There was a series of almost 2,000 earthquakes, and many people think that it was just, you know, an earthquake or two, but there was, I believe the number is 1,874 total earthquakes that occurred in this area between December and March. 1811 and 1812. So it was a very short amount of time, and many earthquakes happened at that point. The largest one happened on February the 7th at 3:00 a.m. and pretty much what happened, the land where Reelfoot Lake is sunk down and it formed a dome in Tiptonville. They call it the Tiptonville Dome. And the water from the Mississippi River backflowed into this area and filled it up, and that's how Reelfoot Lake was formed. So natural lake, there's lots of stumps. There was a swampy forest before it was a lake, and so that's where you have all the stumps underneath the water, which of course they all came in there and were logged. eventually, but you have a lot of stumps underneath, which makes it a really good fish hatchery because all the stuff underneath the water.
The refuge system is the only national network of lands dedicated solely for wildlife conservation. And so that's what we're here for. In short, wildlife come first on national wildlife refuges. Now, in addition to that, public use is extremely important. And that's what we're ultimately here for, is for the benefit of the American people. And so we have 6 priority public uses, or public recreational uses, that are prioritized. And those include hunting, fishing, outdoor photography, wildlife observation, and as well as environmental education and interpretation. So with those 6 uses, as long as they are compatible with the refuge's purpose, then they're allowed on the refuge. This area, northwest Tennessee and southwest Kentucky, has always been known for its hunting and fishing, even before the earthquake. And so it seems that after the formation of the lake, through the earthquake, it just added to that reputation. And so as far back as after the earthquake in the 1811 and 1812, as far back as the mid-1800s, people began setting up hunting camps, hunting and fishing camps, and these hunting clubs, and some of them are still active today. Ever since then, it's been known as a popular destination for sportsmen all over. Well, Reelfoot Lake is known for its waterfowl heritage, and there is no other place like it. And so to come to Reelfoot Lake and the refuge and to see 10,000 ducks or geese in just a few acres is really spectacular, and there's not many places where you can go and see that. You add to that the bald eagles that are following the ducks and geese down through the system, and that's just icing on the cake. Yeah, that's one of the most rewarding things, just to see people come away and think, man, why don't we come here more often?
In January, we have thousands of ducks and thousands of geese. Not a lot of vegetation this time of year. You see a lot of ice sometimes, but you get to see a bigger variety of your ducks. You know, during the year you have, year-round you have ducks like your mallards and your wood ducks, but during the wintertime you have gadwalls and you have widgeons and you have pintails and different types of teal and scaup and just all kinds of different types of ducks that you don't normally get to see in the rest of the year. Yeah, you're talking several thousand, and it depends on the weather. When we get a nice cold front end, that's going to push more birds this way, and you can see, several thousand birds. But they've documented 90,000 birds in some areas. It just depends on where they're located and the type of weather that comes through here. But yeah, it's easy to see 10, 12, 15,000 birds on the refuge at a given time.
Well, that's one of my favorite parts about Reelfoot Lake, is that if you come in the winter and you come back in the summer, you feel like you're at a different place. Each season is so different, with different species you see, with different vegetation or lack thereof, the ice, everything just looks so much different that you could come back in 4 different times of the year and just feel like you're in a different place. It's extremely magical. There's something majestic about the 200-year-old cypress trees out there in the middle of the lake, and canoeing through it, and it sets you back in time. It really does.
It's amazing. It is fantastic. It's something different every single day. You get to see things that a lot of people don't get to see. Who gets to go to work and hear geese flying over you, honking, and you get to drive to another area and you see thousands of ducks flying up and eagles flying over them trying to catch them for food. So it's wonderful to work here. I absolutely love it.
It's what it's all about. It's why we're here. We're here as a showcase of a unique wetland, and to give people, and especially youth, exposure to that, to let them know what's out there, and to let them know, to show them what their ancestors had the foresight to see the need to protect, and so that they can have that same mindset, and they can bring their grandkids out here to do the same thing.
Geocaching, it is kind of a scavenger hunt using technology. What they do is the GPSs, you use a GPS and you go outside and you find hidden containers in the woods. Kind of like using multi-million-dollar satellites to find Tupperware containers in the woods is a simple way of putting it. So it's a big scavenger hunt. When you're geocaching, there's really all kinds. It just depends on who's hiding them. There are different types of caches, such as easy or hard, different sizes. You have some that are really tiny micro caches, and then you have some that are large, big, size of ammo boxes. So you're looking for a variety of things. And when you when these caches are hidden, you try to hide them where they're not in plain sight. So it's a scavenger hunt. Sometimes you can be really, really sneaky and use little items such as plastic toys, like little plastic bugs, to hide those in. So you're looking for just anything, just be open-minded and prepared to find anything. The people that do geocaching, of course, they're outdoors people. They like to get outside. There's really a variety of ages of people that geocache. I've had kids as small as probably like 5 or 6 go geocaching, and I've had couple or families that some of them are grandparents, you know, that are in their 70s or 80s geocache with us. And when someone that has never done it before, sometimes they're kind of skeptical because it's using, you know, technology or don't know what it is, but usually after they do it, they love it and they want to keep doing it.
When you look for your caches, they're going to get you, your GPS is run by satellites. Satellites are constantly moving, so that when you get near your coordinates or your cache, it's going to tell you you've arrived.
Today is a beginner orientation for geocaching, so it's designed so that people who want to know what geocaching is or how to do it, we do a presentation to show them what it is. Then we talk about geocaching website, how they can get access to that, the equipment they need to geocache. We show them some examples of containers that we would normally use. Some of them are basic small containers and some of them are real sneaky and creative. And then we go out and before we meet with the group, we hide these containers. The caches is what they're called. We hide those in places around our lodge. And then after the presentation, we show them how to use the GPS, and then we give that to them. We usually find the first one with them to make sure they know what they're doing. And then after they find that first one, we let them go and go out and look for them, and then I will walk around and help groups as they need it. The favorite part is teaching people that want to learn how to do it. Just giving them something that they can get outside and enjoy and do. Because I always say I get paid to play. Geocaching, part of it is trying to find, if the die-hard geocachers, the reward is finding more than that other team or finding more than other people. It's kind of a bragging right. I found this many caches. And then also sometimes the rewards are in the containers they have trade items. So sometimes you find really neat things to collect out of the caches. I think people like to do it because just recently the satellites have more access, more detailed and easier to use. So a lot of people are taking advantage of that. And again, just technology as it grows and gets better, people are wanting to use that. And people enjoy outdoors too, so it's a way to combine the two. Permanent caches, when people find a permanent cache, those have trade items in them. So when they find those, they can, little knick-knack items they can trade out. And they also have a log book where they log where they have found that cache. When we do events, we had so many caches that we usually just do a keyword. And that keyword is, whenever they find it, they write down that keyword and that proves they have found that cache. Because sometimes we have competitions where whoever finds the most wins a prize or something. I would say, get out and try geocaching because it's a fun way to use technology. It's a great way to get outside and spend time with family, do something together. As friends or family, I know a lot of people get together with friends and groups that do it. It's a great way to meet new people too. And geocaches are literally found all over the world. You can type in any zip code anywhere in the world and probably find several geocaches, more than you would think.
Pretty tricky. I didn't think anybody else.
There are other state parks. Actually, right now we have a geo tour going on with the state parks. And so every state park has at least one cache hidden in it, and that's going to go on for a year. So any state park you go to, you can find a geocache.
Yeah.
Really tricky and creative when they hide these caches.
So the Elephant Sanctuary was started back in 1995. This was the original 220 acres. Carol Buckley came here with one elephant named Tara, and through the last 20 years, we have acquired a total of 24 elephants. And we are a forever home sanctuary for elephants that have been retired from the zoo and performing life. A lot of our elephants have performed in the circus too.
These elephants retire, and when they come here, they'll live out the rest of their lives here. And that's something rare in captivity. And then also the space here, the 2,700 acres, the pastures, ponds, lakes, wooded hills, provides them a lot of stimulation, a lot of choice, and I think that's what's really unique about the sanctuary.
So we have 12 elephants here. We have 2 African elephants and 10 Asian elephants. We have 5 elephants here at the quarantine facility, which were brought in from a circus facility that they came here with tuberculosis, and they've been in treatment for tuberculosis, so we keep these guys completely separate. On the other side of the habitats, we have 2 African elephants, and then we also have 5 more Asian elephants. One of the big differences is these guys here have 220 acres. The Asian elephants on the other side of the property have 1,700 acres. We do have a big barn there, and then the African elephants have about 70 acres with another 200 acres accessible to them eventually once we get all of our fencing. So it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing to not only have this beautiful landscape and these beautiful areas, but to then see these elephants get to be elephants. And when you read some of the histories of our elephants and how they are very forgiving. They seem to have experienced some of these stories that you would be like, how in the world? And then still want to interact with us. Being able to just watch an elephant go and swim in a pond whenever they want to is amazing.
Well, Shirley is pretty amazing. I don't know if you guys heard about her. She's 67, and she broke her leg about 40 years ago, and she is probably one of our most active elephants here. She will climb up all of these hills, and she'll cover dozens of miles in a day, and she's a pretty special lady. And for 67 years old, with the past that she's had in the circus life and traveling, she's got a spirit that is very inspiring.
One of the key differences, they have to understand they now have choices. And they have choices in what they want to do. In a performing life, they have very minimal choices because they have to get to the performing site, do all that stuff. Here, they suddenly have options. They don't even have to interact with us if they don't want to. But the types of training that we do, the protected contact training system, it is all based on positive reinforcement. So they understand, hey, interacting with the humans is a really great thing. That's how we can get them to work with us with their veterinary behaviors, things like that. But they also can then choose whether they want to come to the barns, that they want to come towards one specific area or the other. That's the key thing, that all of a sudden they have this aha moment that they're like, it's all up to me. It's a term we call autonomy. So they have those options. They get to do what we call elephant behaviors. We have a joke around here. We go by elephant time. So we're not on a set schedule. If the elephant decides, you know what, I'm not going to interact today for whatever I want to do, we go to the elephant, we take care of them. We can take care of them however they need to have their care taken.
We need to provide them what they need, what they would be having in their natural habitat. So they need a social structure, they need space, they need choice. And yeah, I think providing them that, we'll learn so much more about, what they really are, seeing them in their natural state. I think knowing the past and the history that the elephants have here, and kind of watching them transition into sanctuary and watching them learn how to be an elephant it's just the most amazing part. It's very inspiring seeing what they've come from and just watching them to learn to forgive and grow and just learn to be an elephant again. Watch them, choose to go in a 25-acre lake, which they've never experienced before. And watch them not choose to be at the barn, but sleep outside under the stars most of the summer. And I think they teach us a lot: forgiveness, trust, and
they have the spirit that is just amazing.
I think the more that we are learning about elephants, and there's still a whole lot that we continue to learn, the more people are realizing what we've been doing in the past is no longer acceptable. That's the key thing, is that it's time to think outside of the box and go, what can we provide these elephants to really give them what they need to thrive? One of those things is space and options, and giving them the opportunity to interact with other elephants. Having an elephant living by itself is just not an acceptable thing. And so they are such social creatures. Here they're able to interact with each other, but they also have the option of not interacting with each other. That's the key to it too.
So we're not open to the public. These elephants have either been, in the performing lifestyle or on display for educational purposes. So when they come here in retirement, it's nice to let them finally just be elephants and live out the rest of their lives. And so we're also not, set up that way. It's such a large habitat that sometimes they're not, in visual range. And but we do have 14 ele cams, and that you can see live footage of the elephants throughout the day, and you can watch them be elephants without anybody watching them, which is pretty special. I think knowing their past and watching what they get to experience now is so fulfilling. So knowing, the 40+ years some of these elephants were in a negative reinforcement-based management and performing without choice, and then seeing them choose to go out in the 2,700 acres. And, Misty chose to go in the 25-acre lake for her first time ever last year, and I think we all cried. So those moments are, just the best part of the day. Well, we hope to educate the public on what Sanctuary is providing for elephants and what captive life for elephants can be. And so, hopefully we can show this, and more elephants will retire and, find their forever home here.
Well, we've come to the end of our journey, but we hope you've enjoyed going wild with these stories we've brought you. Reelfoot National Wildlife Refuge in Western Kentucky is beautiful in every season, but takes on something extra special when hundreds of thousands of migratory birds stop there over the winter. Drew Wirwa, refuge manager, gave us a glimpse of this magnificent landscape and the wildlife that few get to see. Geocaching is a new way to get back to nature using technology, and the staff at Barren River State Resort Park gave us a lesson in the high-tech treasure hunt at the park. And finally, the Elephant Sanctuary in Hohenwald, Tennessee, is the forever home for elephants that have been retired from circuses and zoos. Callie Costanza, lead supervisor at the sanctuary, introduced us to some of the elephants and helped us understand some things about these wonderful, amazing animals. Well, we've gone a little wild on this edition of Main Street. We hope you've enjoyed our explorations. We welcome any questions, comments, or story ideas. Our producers would love to hear from you. Check out the webpage at the address on your screen. Here you can find archived editions of the show as well. Until next time, I'm Barbara Deeb. And remember, we're just around the corner on Main Street.